Hey everyone, you're watching Movie Couple Live, where we talk about the latest in pop culture and movie news. I'm Dustin, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about some photos from the set of Barbie. We're also going to be talking about the first look at the Orcs from Prime Video's Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, and Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel has actually finally got a release date. All of this and more on today's show. Now, as a lot of you may notice, I am actually missing my better half here today. That's right. Miss Wendy Lee Zaney is actually off in production land, so she is not able to make it here. However, seeing how this is one of my first shows actually, kind of trying to take the steering wheel, I thought it would be best if I brought in a little bit of help. I would bring in someone with some incredible charisma, with someone who is always late to the party, but always arrives precisely when he means to. That's right, my friends. I've got the chaotic sorcerer himself, Robert Montano from Late to the Party. Everyone throw some popcorns into the chat for Robert. How you doing, buddy? How's it going?
Dustin, it's funny that chaotic sorcerer, no one has any idea what you're talking about.
None whatsoever. That was just a personal reference for you and me.
Sure, yeah. Dustin is teaching Vanessa and myself essentially how to play Dungeons and Dragons. And I've picked a sorcerer, and my sorcerer is just off the wall, chaotic, crazy. And we've been having a lot of fun doing it.
I have to admit, though, I love having those kinds of characters in the campaign, though, because it really keeps you on your toes. You will think, okay, when they get to this problem, this is probably something that they're going to do. And they do something completely different. So it keeps the story fresh. It keeps the story moving along.
Sure.
And I'm really excited for us to be able to get back into the game.
Of course, it's
been a little crazy the last couple of weeks.
It's been a good time, but yes, you're right. It has been incredibly busy. So much news, so many shows. Congratulations on your edit of Miss Marvel, doing it all on your own.
That's right. Well, I did get a little bit of help every now and again. When Wendy was awake, I was like, Wendy, can you come over here and help me? How do I do this? How do I move this around? And it was, my very first time tackling a full edit of a TV show reaction. It took me probably a little bit more than 2 to 3 times longer than Wendy can do it.
Understandable, man. It took me and Wendy some time to be able to get it down to, a formula. And even that formula takes 2 to 3 hours, depending on the episode. So I feel you.
And fortunately, I think this was actually a really good one to kind of get my feet wet in.
I agree.
To where it wasn't too, there weren't like the whole thing wasn't like filled with huge reactions.
Sure.
Where you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't edited anything out of this thing yet.
Yeah, it wasn't the Hero-gasm episode of The Boys, that's for sure. I've never used that much blurring in my life in the edits. And then we ended up right after I finished editing our reaction to a movie called The Night Comes for Us, which is a Indonesian, martial arts type film. And holy cow, I had to take my knowledge of the blur and apply it to that. It ended up not getting suitable for anybody under 18 thanks to YouTube, but that's dropping later today, so be on the lookout for that.
Awesome. Yeah, and we've both of us have a lot of cool stuff dropping on our channels. As I mentioned before, here on the Movie Couple, we do have the reaction to Miss Marvel Episode 4 and episode 4, Scene Red, I think was
Yeah, Seeing
the
Red.
title of the episode.
Like the Unwritten Law song, which I didn't say in our reaction because I didn't know that's what the episode was called until afterwards. But Seeing Red, Unwritten Law. It's a good song. Check it out.
And we've also both have our reactions to the trailer for Hocus Pocus 2.
Definitely.
And also, I think one of the other movie reviews that Wendy and I have up is for Elvis. If you guys have not gotten a chance to see the movie Elvis, I highly recommend going to see it. There's going to be some Oscar buzz about this movie.
And everything the movie couple has out, we have out too. So you just pretty much, we're a mirror of each other, a multiverse, a parallel dimension, if you will, to each other.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when we are able to work with people, such great people, is that we start doing a lot of the same work so we can promote each other.
It's because we're all very similar. That's why we're doing the same work, is because we like the same stuff. So that's why we're here. Like the second you told me, like, you want to jump on and co-host the Movie Couple Live episode? Yeah, absolutely. That would be it, just because it's something that I find fun and interesting. Every day you guys do it, we have it on in the background somewhere. It's on our phone, it's on the television while I'm editing. So yeah, this is what we do for fun, and we do it together sometimes, and it's great when we do.
And we're able to support and raise each other up.
We are the movie couple.
Yeah.
Now. Vanessa and Wendy.
We're the movie couple.
Dustin and Robert now.
We're late to the movie.
There you go.
Late to the couple. But anyways, I think late to the movie is going to be a little bit catch on a little bit better. But before we dive into our first topic of the day, we do have a super chat from Marvin Martin. Marvin Martin, thank you so much for your support. We do have, let's see, can I put it? Oh, I can do this because we've been doing a lot of our live streams through OBS, and we're not able to put them up on OBS. But today we are going through whatchamacalls it, StreamYards. So Marvin constantly puts up some really good recommendations. So we've got after proving ghosts are real, the world should be very different. Also, New York by night, think Game of Thrones, Anne Rice, Dungeons and Dragons. Ooh.
Is it like modern day New York or like old school, turn of the century New York?
Oh, that's actually a really good question. Sometimes I always love Marvin Martin's recommendations because it's like, it just gives me like, so much more material to go out there and check out. And also the way he breaks them down, like it's like this mixed with that. So, but honestly, that sounds like a great recommendation. And honestly, I have to admit, that is one thing that has always kind of bugged me a little bit about Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters Afterlife, is I think the world would be so different after one 100% proven incident with ghosts. Either it being what happened in the first Ghostbusters or in the second Ghostbusters.
Sure.
As soon as, like, what is it called? It was that museum that got completely covered by the slime.
Of course.
The world would be very, very different.
It would not, dude. Have you seen what's going on nowadays? It's right in front of them, and they still won't believe what the hell is happening. I have seen that'll turn you white. No, dude, they won't believe it. Even if you have proven evidence that ghosts are real in this world, there's going to be an entire huge section of the country that absolutely does not believe that it's happening, that are going to go on the exact same way. So no, I totally get when it's
reality and substitute my own.
Yeah, exactly. So I totally get where it's like, even all this stuff has happened, even though the Ghostbusters come and save the day, nobody's going to believe it. They're still going to think that they're pieces of crap, as was said in Ghostbusters 2, or full of crap. And so, yeah, dude, it's you would think that with the knowledge of Ghostbusters, or at least ghosts, and the ability to buzz them, it would make the world a little bit more enlightened and awake to some, paranormal aspects of the world. Nah, it's going to be a surprise every movie.
No, that's very true. And one thing that I always did want to see, though, is to see which Ghostbuster is it? The one that owns the shop. That
Ray,
one,
Ray's a
Ray. Okay,
cult.
so it is Ray.
Yeah.
I wanted to see Ray or Egon teaching a paranormal class in like a college.
Yeah, you would think that that would be the way they would have gone. You know, they were professors, so they have multiple PhDs. So you would think that there would be some sort of tutelage going on when it came to the paranormal. But instead, you know, Ray fell into the Ray's occult, which is technically now, I guess, owned by Winston because he's the one paying the rent. I pay the rent, and Ray just kind of runs it. But Ray's name is on the building.
Ah, true. And also, what is it? So Marvin Martin's recommendation for it was a modern day New York.
Okay. See, I
So the
like
recommend
that. I'm excited for the next Scream. Like if they do really do harness New York in the settings for the next Scream movie, that's going to be fun. I
uh
like that mashup.
but also, you know what? Instead of jumping into the topic that I was going to jump into, seeing how we're already kind of getting the ball rolling with
Sure.
Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yep.
So what is it? Hold on a second. Let me bring it up here. The Hollywood Reporter actually did come out with an article that did state that the next Ghostbuster movie will be released in theaters on December 20th, 2023. So that means production's going to be going into motion soon. We're going to probably start seeing some set photos as soon as they start filming. But I'm excited because the what is it called? The name for this one so far, the shooting name is
Right.
called Firehouse.
Correct. Yeah, Rust City being the one that they used for the Afterlife, that's what they called it, Rust City, and Firehouse, and to me, I mean, that's just a pure homage to, you know, obviously the headquarters, the ghost house in New York, and taking that, to me, of course, this is me, you know, taking something so small and making it bigger. It tells me New York. It tells me the
Mm-hmm.
original Ghost, but like it tells me home when it comes to the Ghostbusters. So even the Ghostbusters 2016 was shot in Boston. So it's like this feels like we are coming home for Ghostbusters, you know, and I loved what Afterlife did in terms of literally jump starting the franchise once again. But now we get to go home and have in the way the other Ghostbusters, the first two were created, that type of Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah, and honestly, that's what I really thought that the first one did a good job on, is revitalizing the franchise, getting people interested or back into the Ghostbusters world. And now it's going to be bringing us back to New York, back to the firehouse. They used, Gozer for the first one. And now they're going I'm really curious on what paranormal activity they're going to be pushing for this next movie. I really hope that they're going to go somewhere completely new, a completely new idea. I'm hoping that they don't try to do the whole shoot. What was his name in the second one?
Vigo,
Vigo. I
Vigo the
don't think they'll
Carpathian.
do that because I don't think he's I mean, he's nowhere near as popular as Gozer.
No, he's not. But you know, Vigo, he was formidable, man. He introduced me to the idea of Horcruxes before Harry Potter. So when it came
Very true.
to, you know, his villainy, I thought he's a great villain for them to go up against. I do believe he should be dead. Finally, like ultimately, his Horcrux was technically destroyed. Actually, it wasn't though. It just got repainted by one of the fettuccinis.
Oh
But
yeah, that's right. Oh man, it
and they
takes a while
kept it.
because sometimes I'm like, I haven't seen that movie in a while.
I watch it multiple times a year. Same with the first one. But yeah, no, it's got to be a completely new threat. If they wanted to pull from their lore, absolutely, there's plenty to pull from in terms of lore to take us away from Gozer, from you know, any of the other beings that they've come up against, like Slimer. Do we need Slimer? No. Is he probably in New York still? Sure. So if you want to keep him, why not? But at the same time, like I feel like you cover new ground. Let's get deep into the paranormal. Let's get back into the scary stuff. Because that stuff is frightening when it comes to a being that's capable of crossing interdimensions to come and destroy you and your world. We've seen it in Stranger Things, so they can do it in Ghostbusters and make it something formidable.
And that is something that I really agree with that Stranger Things harnesses that horror and that fear and that, but yet still fun at the same time, where and having to deal with an extra dimensional threat. And I think if they can bring some of that into Ghostbusters, I think that would be. I want to see more horror. I
Yeah,
really do. I think they had good moments of it
right.
in Afterlife, but I want to see them push that envelope a little bit further, because that first Ghostbusters, when I saw it, I had, I was right on that borderline of having nightmares.
Of course.
And I think that is just a part of Ghostbusters that I want to see them explore a lot more.
Yeah, I mean it completely makes sense too, because the the movie itself, albeit man, it was PG at the time, it was kind of geared towards kids in terms of like the marketing and the toys and the cartoon and all that. Like it worked for all of us. But in the first movie, much like Doctor Who back in the day, it kind of sent you running behind the couch. That you need these moments to actually scare you as an audience member, to make you feel something when you're watching this movie that lasts with you for quite some time. And that whole librarian scene, the build up to them getting to the librarian, you can go back and look at it, and there's some really really funny dialogue, funny moments in that whole scene, that I just respect a hell of a lot more now that I'm older. But that get her, and then they take off running. Did you see it? What was it like? I used to have to turn away. That music too, building up to it, that Elmer Bernstein music, which was very well captured in Afterlife. And I really do hope that they bring the same composer back for the sequel. So yeah, it's those scary moments. You got to have some of those scary moments, because that, I look at Stranger Things, man, it does a good job at giving you some pretty horrific things,
Oh
all
yeah.
while making it, watchable by adults, teenagers, and kids as well. I would be watching it if I was a kid.
Oh yeah. And honestly, I watched it. I remember watching the old Ghostbusters. And there was always those moments. I knew those moments were coming. So
Sure.
those are the moments that I would like hide around the corner and then be like, okay, I'm good for the rest of it. But yeah, it was when it was Slimer, the librarian, and when Dana gets abducted.
When Dana gets abducted, it's the
Those were
music, dude. When that door flies open and you've got the terror dog back there and he makes the
and
growl he makes.
Indentation in the door.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty scary. And yeah, if you could, they did a little bit of that, like the scene in Afterlife where Gozer's coming through the corn, and it's like just kind of not there but is there. And yeah, that was some good. There wasn't enough of it in my opinion for the movie, but that it is what it is. It gave us some of those scary imagery that we've been wanting for quite some time, but now we need the scary tone. We need the scary moments back in the movie. So hopefully, Jason Reitman will be able to do that in New York, because it's a great backdrop for it. Those hotels, like even one of the hotels, the hotel that they used in Ghostbusters is actually a hotel down in downtown Los Angeles. So, and that thing's haunted to hell. And it's, I love those scary environments that, if you can throw a spook or specter or ghoul or goblin in there somewhere, it would definitely make it feel more dire for the Ghostbusters to overcome these objectives versus, we got him, we're done. Like, no, save that for the montage. We need something scary to lead us to the montage, like in Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah. And we do actually have a lot of people in the chat that are just so excited that you and I are here together working, doing the, we have Shane White. Thank you so much for being in the chat. So excited for crossover that we're both here. Wait, the movie couple? I just realized, we love a vampire recommendation. Did I write that?
No, it's Wendy's got.
Is Wendy in here watching the
on
show?
Location.
Wendy's like, what is Dustin doing?
Wendy's sitting in like, Dustin.
Silly.
I'll take it from
Dustin
here.
And Robert. She'll hop in and be like, I'm going to take this from the remote control takeover.
No, dude, it helps to have someone in the chat. You obviously know. You guys know it helps to have someone in the chat. moderating and just every once in a while reminding you guys to hit that like. Make sure you hit the like. It's free. You just hit it in the corner and it helps the algorithm. Go ahead, do that now. I guess I could be doing it too. I am the co-host, right? Me and you together.
Oh yeah,
We're the
wait, I
movie
can actually
couple.
do it on this part right here. There, I actually put a thumbs up. There we go. On my other, because I have it up here, so I can kind of.
You're right. I should probably do that for you.
I've
right
got
now,
like
shouldn't I?
monitors all over the place.
I know. I get it.
But let's see here. We've also got Debbie. Thank you so much for being here. The ghost house of Ghostbusters is near where I work. Oh, you actually work near the Ghostbusters
awesome.
firehouse?
Was it Hook and Ladder 49, 47?
That is so cool. I'd geek out every single time I drove by it. I'd be like, there it is.
Yeah.
It's just a part of my childhood right there.
I would lose my mind. Very much so. NSY and InSync Chick 8877. Will we see the mini Stay Puft Marshmallows make one big one? So you think they'll come back and put back the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man again? They could, right?
They could. They really, really could. There's a part of me with the nostalgia that's like, yes, I kind of want to see that. I want to see like a whole bunch of them just kind of and just like blob together to make one big Marshmallow Man. But then again, a part of me is also like a part of me wants to be like, okay, we've gotten that.
Yes.
We got that. Let's move on. Let's advance the lore, because so many of you are in the chat are just saying that there's so much lore that they can dive into. I want to have them start doing kind of like what Star Wars kind of did, just super expand their universe, expand the horizons, go out to different dimensions, find other characters in different dimensions that are trying to do like the same thing that they are.
Absolutely. The lore is there for it.
Yeah, it's all there.
And the franchising too, they talked about the franchising beyond our wildest dreams in the first movie. So absolutely, if you've got Winston, who is now obviously going to spearhead the Ghostbusters Incorporated and make it, a family business, as Peter said, you definitely can get more added to the team in our universe, more added to a team in a multi-dimensional cross rip that are, like you said, trying to remedy some big bad. It can be an expanded universe of Ghostbusters. However, when it comes to the movies, they just need to plot it out. They need a Feige at the helm and, not what's going on in Star Wars movies.
Every franchise needs a Feige.
Every legacy sequel needs some sort of Feige that has that knowledge and love for it, that can see a very clear trajectory in the sense of where the story should go, because that's why you're doing a legacy sequel, right?
Yep.
Like, you're trying to jumpstart your franchise. So why is it not, purely thought out with incorporating a universe, especially when your movie and your stories are open to interdimensional, cross rips and
you can go as
from
weird as you want.
Yeah, why not?
It's wide open. But before we move on to our next topic, I do want to thank Marvin Martin again for another super chat on this topic. Is it just me, or did many of the ghosts not do much harm? Slimer ate without pain, but the librarian ghost just wanted to read her books.
That's true.
That's true. Honestly, ghost rights matter. All they wanted to do is I'm sure Slimer just it was like a foodie, and he just died a tragic death, and now he's stuck in this hotel wanting to just eat the food that he got thrown out of.
Yeah. It was Bluto from Animal House, essentially.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Ghost form. So yeah, they're not very dangerous. It's usually just the specific person that it's going after that is dangerous, that is in danger. So Dana Barrett or Oscar, or the Ghostbusters that try and get in the way. Otherwise, everybody else, it's not really something you can get harmed by. Even the terror dogs didn't hurt you. So they, captured
just abducted your soul.
Yeah, they essentially just, became, demons inside you. Terror dogs.
They kind of destroyed that building, but yeah, most
of
them were just
everyone was out of it.
So, but going from ghosts and goblins to elves and orcs, we actually got some new pictures from what is it? It was an exclusive by IGN. The first look of the Orcs from Prime Video's Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. And there was 6 different pictures that were dropped. And I have to admit, this has gotten me a little bit more interested in the Rings of Power. We actually have what some of the orcs looked like in the Second Age. I was reading this article, and this article is a big article. It dives into a lot of interviews. It dives into what the orcs are at this time. They're actually a scattered race. It sounds like this is when they've been, nearly wiped out, nearly to extinction. They've been pushed back into the caves, into the underground, and they are finally just coming out. But something that I just absolutely love about the way they look is that they project the lore of what the orcs are, and that is fallen elves. And I just think that is, you can just tell that by the different prosthetics, just the way that everything is made and how everything is so detailed. And I just love the direction that they're going with all of the practical effects on this show. Robert, how about you? What did you think of some of those pictures and some of those just the visuals that we got for Lord of the Rings?
We're back to basics, man. It's the practical effects, it's the costumes, it's the the detail that goes into that makeup, and the visual effects on a much more realistic level, because you could touch it. So you've got settings, you've got environments that you can build, and most of it is built in a computer. And it even wasn't like the main the main orc that they went up against in the Hobbit trilogy, wasn't he like CG for the most part?
Most of it was CG, and you can so tell the difference between the first Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit.
Right.
And how most of the Hobbit is, CGI. Like half of his arm, a lot of his face is, I think almost all of his face is CG. And there's something about being able to be like, I feel like I could reach through the screen and touch that. That looks real.
They're scary. And you can feel like the saliva dripping off their teeth, especially that one where you saw the teeth, where it's just like, dang, the details. Yeah, right there, man. You could just feel the terror if you end up in a room with one of these guys and that's coming at you. So they did a real good job with it, especially when it comes to the armor and that one in the white cloak and the hood.
One.
Yeah, like that one right there, dude. I just see him as like a slick knivesman that can just slide on his knees and cut people down and just take them all out. And it's just with that face underneath the hood, like he's like a specter of some sort, like an orc specter. And I've never seen anything like that, honestly.
And honestly, I love that comparison that you've made. The fact that it really does just look like you can tell their lifestyle from what they're looking. Just a picture alone is telling an entire story of these characters. The fact that they look more like nomads, their armor isn't shiny or isn't like, even like with orcs in Lord of the Rings, you could tell that it was made, that it looks like they came from a place of strength. This looks more like they're coming from a place of salvage. They don't have anything. The only things that they have that they're able to use are things that they're able to steal, that they're able to kill someone and take. It looks like it's very pieced together, very salvaged, or maybe from a past life to where, and I just love the detail that they're going into with this show. I have to admit, the first trailer that we saw, I think it was dropped when? Was
Super Bowl?
It was the Super Bowl or something.
Yeah, it was the Super Bowl.
We haven't seen anything since besides these pictures.
Nothing.
And that first trailer just didn't really get me as excited as these pictures are getting me.
Yeah. I mean, that's you do lack a lot of, again, detail when it comes to those trailers, because we don't know anything. We don't know the characters really. We don't know how they're going to play. We don't know their place in the story. And granted, we wouldn't know that even if we got a trailer, but some trailers will give you some sense of narrative, and that makes you buy in a little bit more if it's something that intrigues me. For instance, you describing the pictures and talking about fallen elves type deal, that gets me more excited because you're actually starting to paint a picture in my head of what it could be. And I think the teaser trailer, when they're just showing flashes of imagery and not even that detailed without any context, you do lack that connection to it to get you hyped up to want to watch it when it eventually comes out. Right now, it's not on our list of things we're going to react to. When the time comes and it starts airing, we're not planning on reacting to it. Just partly because there's really no hype in our camp, and there's no hype in the people that were coming to check out our trailer reaction to it. So when it comes down to it, man, it's like, do I put the kind of energy that I know at time and energy to edit a Lord of the Rings reaction video,
which I have a lot more respect for now.
Yeah, which nobody, like in my mind, not many are excited to come and watch on our channel in the first place. But then you start giving me things that make me excited. Then it's when you can tip the scales. It's like, I don't care what you guys think. I'm doing it because I want to watch it. Yeah. And that's what we do on our channel sometimes is we'll watch the ones we want to watch, but they got to get us to hook. And I feel like they haven't hooked us yet with Lord of the Rings. But like you said, these pictures are helping.
Yes. And I'm wondering what their next campaign push is going to be. I'm wondering what the next... makes me now go, okay, show me more. Where before I wasn't even interested in seeing more.
Justin's all like, tell me more. Does he fight with an orc? Grease. Keep going, dude. Or I'm going to actually used to,
what is it called? When I did a summer camp and we did a Grease medley.
That's awesome.
Once. But let's see here in the chat. Let's see. We've got another super chat from Marvin Martin. And once again, you know what? Honestly, the story of the Orcs is rather tragic. You know, taken and tortured by dark powers, victims again. And it's honestly, I'm wondering if we're going to see the formation of the Orcs, because that happens more in the first stage, if I'm not mistaken. But somewhere in the article, in the interview, they were talking about, so are we going to see this? And the director played coy. They were like, well, I can't, that would be just saying too much.
He's like, damn, that's a good idea.
That we're going to get some flashbacks, that we actually dive more into the character of these Orcs, that we're going to find out that the Orcs are the surprising storyline of this.
Yeah. Everyone needs to play a part, and the Orcs is a big one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they are the main villain pretty much in the Lord of the Rings, in that whole world of Tolkien. That is Sauron's army.
It's true. They are on their ass the entire time.
Yep. They pretty much get beaten down, and then they just stay there the entire time, because honestly, I would love to find out what lore they're choosing to tell about their backstory.
I'm sure, and granted, like, I'm nowhere near as well versed as you, but it's like talking about Ghostbusters. You know, there's so much that they can cherry pick from when it comes to what is out there, that they can really run with it. And it'll be a shame if when we get it, they do nothing with it, and they're just like, oh, they're just the bad guys. That's it. Like, we're hoping for more, because it's an interesting story and we want to know more about these characters, you know, albeit the bad guys. But, you know,
they have the best stories, though.
Sure.
The bad guys usually have the best stories if you tell them right and you don't make them just a misunderstood villain. I would really love to see the fact that they are tempted by the darkness, and then they kind of find out their mistake a little too late. So
after that, you got to give into it.
You're like, you know what? I've made my bed. This is where I'm sleeping tonight. Even though it's deep in a cave under a slimy rock, I'm staying here.
That'd be pretty cozy, though. I'd rather sleep in a cave than out in the open. Yeah, you get Gollum from there.
When does Gollum come into play? He doesn't come in until the Third Age, I think. That's when I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to go back and check it out. But in the chat, we do have a few comments from Blade GTR. Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys.
Definitely. And
That
it's going to
was
look like they're actually eating it too and not CG.
not just eating CGI meat, kind of like what is it
Sure.
in video games when they just kind of go like this, and then
Or
the like just the chunks of meat start to disappear around the meatball.
or Attack of the Clones when Padme eats that fruit and it just like disappears when she goes, oh, it's like, oh, come on. Come on, guys. Make it visceral, make it real.
There's so many moments in cinematic history that are just like, oh my gosh, you guys someone just this one moment just happened to glance by everyone, like
Sure.
when the stormtrooper hits his head, or
MK Songbird said, quite the timing that House of the Dragon releases August 21st and Lord of the Rings series debuts September 2nd. Somberg, yeah, I completely forgot about that. So another reason why I may not be doing Lord of the Rings, because could you imagine editing a Game of Thrones episode and a Lord of the Rings episodes in the same week? For someone like me who's not real big on fantasy and they are a little bit of a slower burn, I don't know if I'd be able to survive that.
oh my gosh, I can't imagine doing a Game of Thrones editing a reaction video. I had a hard enough time with a lighthearted, fun, occasional action scene
Sure.
in Miss Marvel, having
Right.
it to be to where it's just this intense drama the entire time where your reactions are just
Yeah. Yeah. But you got to put
that's
something in there because otherwise you're just skipping everything, you know? So it's tough. It's not easy.
it's going to end up being just like highlights and reactions. That's all you're getting. You're just getting the couple moments to where you're like, yeah, or oh,
It's
like
actually a
doing
good
the whole red
idea.
wedding.
That'll cut down a lot of time because
Mm-hmm.
people really only care. You will look at the metrics and people only really care about the big stuff. So it's like, all right, forget everything else. We're just giving you this. And then
And
mixed
it's going to end up
reactions will
being just like
steal
a
it.
10-minute video. That's it.
Yeah, they'll go watch it somewhere else on some compilation website and I won't get any of the views. That's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Gollum is after Sauron was defeated, so after the end of Second Age, Ruru 2M said.
Oh, awesome.
Ruru 2. Ruru
Oh, yeah,
2.
because the end of Sauron marks the end of the Second Age, and it was the start of God, I hate names.
I
Who
can't help you here, buddy.
But yeah, the fact that chat, help me out here. The guy who ended up cutting the ring from Sauron's hand, and he took it, he got corrupted by the ring, then he lost it, and then it was thousands of years before Gollum got it. So, but yeah, I mean, there's just so much lore in Lord of the Rings that I'm hoping that they nail this really well, not like Isildur. Thank you so much. Names. But with House of Dragons and Lord of the Rings, I'm hoping that this can just start sparking the fantasy genre again and just making it more, just we get more and more of this. So we'll get more and more fantasy, high fantasy. We'll get more D&D kind of stuff. So
We got Willow coming out this year too.
Oh my God, that's
We will be doing reactions to Willow, and I will edit the hell out of those episodes. No problem.
I cried a little bit when I was at Star Wars Celebration.
I would have to, but instead I cried on camera in our reaction. It's the first time I've ever cried on this channel.
And I'm so happy that they're bringing in Mad Mardigan again. They're actually going to get.
Well, I know Sorsha's back. She's in the trailer too. Let's get Kevin Pollak back as one of the brownies. That would be amazing.
I would love to see the brownies. They were not in the trailers. Were they? They weren't in the trailers, were they?
I don't recall they were in the trailers. At one point, you do see trolls, like a very quick flash. I hate trolls.
With them crawling on the walls. I hate trolls.
Yeah, so I mean, you're gonna get them all, and it's. I think brownies were in the trailer for a split second because I think Willow's standing next to him. But yeah, it's a lot of fantasy coming out, man, which is exciting because I'm not real big on fantasy, but more recently, with what you and I and Vanessa and Wendy have been doing with the Dungeons and Dragons, what Vox Machina has given me, it's definitely, and Willow is my Lord of the Rings. So I'm getting reacquainted and reinitiated late in life, late to the party, late to the fantasy party in my life. So it's exciting time.
so many parties going on in the world. You can't be on time for all of them.
That's true. That's also a great way to look at our channel too. It's like, which party we going to,
Yep.
and
We
are
get to
we going to show up
choose.
late and be there night one? Or is it, we're covering 3 seasons because we never watched The Boys. So, and then we had to catch up, which we did. We're all caught up. But, you
I
can't
haven't
hit
seen.
every party. There's so much going on right now online.
And there's, honestly, I've been seeing just some of the stuff that you guys posted for The Boys. And
Sure.
I'm just like, I got to get into that. I've been wanting to get into that, but it's one of those shows that I just haven't gotten around to.
It's
So
great.
many, and it just looks brutal. It looks, it just, yeah. I've heard so many good things about it.
And just running laterally with Marvel, because we're all experiencing Marvel right now, whether it's the shows or the movies, to have something like Invincible, which if you haven't watched that either, oh my god, you need to watch it today. But Invincible and The Boys give you like a lateral medium to be able to experience those kinds of stories. But what if it was brutal? What if it was realistic? In terms of the brutality that some of these heroes can achieve. So then the only thing about like The Boys is I feel like they haven't really gotten into the world of like cosmic super villains of anything. So it's all just crappy
Here on
villains,
Earth.
crappy people, crappy heroes. But
crappy
like
people with crappy powers doing crappy things.
Exactly. But Invincible takes it to the cosmic, much bigger level, kind of like Marvel does. So, and Marvel has that kind of stuff too. They've got Hawkeye on ground level. They've got Miss Marvel now with Interdimension. So it's fun to have that kind of medium, and that's what's cool with the fantasy genre is you're going to get something so like you said, high fantasy, which I believe would be Lord of the Rings, but then you have something that's a little bit more my speed, like Willow, and then you've got the brutality that is Game of Thrones.
Actually, Willow's a little bit closer than D&D than you think.
That's
You
great.
have your halfling sorcerer, you have your human fighter, you have all these different classes and races. You have, and I'm like, when I really saw that picture of like all the characters like standing against this, like the silhouettes,
right?
And I'm like, that's a D&D party. That's a D&D party. So, but from a high fantasy to what is it? From ghosts and goblins, and now into a Barbie world.
Something completely different.
Now we're doing something completely different.
Yeah.
That's right. We have been talking about this Barbie movie for months. And honestly, I have had nothing but questions. What the heck is going on? How are they going to bring Barbie into the real world? Is Barbie going to be actually like a toy come to life? Is it someone that the toy is based off of? Is it an inspirational character that has a fashion line? And we just got a bunch of pictures of the different outfits that Barbie and Ken are going to have. These incredibly neon colored rollerblade outfits with her pink cowboy outfit. And of course, Will Ferrell's character trying to take on some rollerblades with just, it looks like he's trying to take the suits out for a walk. But seeing these pictures does give me a little bit more of an idea of what this movie is going to be like. I feel like it's going to be more of like a fashionista trying to make it in the world of what is it called? Of like high fashion a little bit and having to deal with like corporate America. So, but Robert, what do you think of some of these wacky pictures?
I had no idea that Will Ferrell was in it. And for some reason, it just makes it all the more bonkers. But no, man, I mean, it's pure Barbie. Look at those outfits. Look at the freaking neon. My sister, she had plenty of Barbies and she had all the accessories. And so, yeah, those the skates and the pads and everything is straight out of, the 80s Barbie and 90s Barbie. And it's funny because like at first you told me a Barbie movie if you would have told me a Barbie movie 10 years ago, I'd have been like, I don't care, whatever. And I think they were talking about a Barbie movie 10 years ago too.
Yeah,
And
they've
at
been
that
talking
time,
about it for a while.
long time, and I didn't care. But then I watched this little show on Netflix called Barbie Life in the Dream House. And for some reason, man, I don't know, like it was hilarious. Like
Really?
the references that they choose, the it almost felt self-aware, like they knew they were in a series, so it was very meta at times. But they're ridiculous. Of course, Ken is ridiculous. So when I watched Barbie Life in the Dream House, I watched every episode, by the way, and then it just stopped, and then there was no more. I was like, all right, well, that was fun, and I've never gone back. Like, I've never gone back to watch it. I don't know if they ever made more after that first season, but for some reason, man, that the comedy hit me. And I feel like it's what a lot of people do end up seeing in certain shows, like the Bronies do, like My Little Pony. It's
Oh
like,
my God,
if
the
you just
bronies
put
is
your
funny.
ear to it, you might find something that you like. And when it came to that, when it came to Barbie Life in the Dream House, that made me open to, it's like, yeah, I'm going to check it out. But then you see these pictures, and I see Ryan Gosling as Ken. Margot Robbie, I already knew she'd kill it as Barbie. She makes sense. But when I saw Ryan Gosling as Ken, sold. Like, I'll be there for the press screening, I'll be there opening night. It's definitely something I have to check out, because it looks like they are leaning into the self-aware aspect, that they know it's ridiculous, but it was ridiculous. And what happened if that craziness happened in the real world? So it could be fish out of water as well for the characters. Don't know if they came from Barbies, or they just exist in this world, but always in the Barbie mentality when it came to creating the line that is Barbie.
Yeah, and you know what? I think with the success too of movies like the Lego Movie,
Right.
where I mean, when we first heard, oh, they're making a Lego movie, you're sitting here going, how are they going to make a Lego movie?
Yep.
But they show that they can take a toy property and then just add in the comedy, add in characters that you love to watch, and just kind of make these pop culture references and just be like making a really entertaining film out of a franchise that you would think had no right having like a film made after them. You
That's
know, I'm
true.
still curious to see what our Tetris movie is going to be like that we're going to get, but
It's gonna be like Pixels with Adam Sandler.
oh my gosh, that was so
Dude,
bad.
okay, so I love my mom to death, but I got a phone call this weekend, and it was just random phone call. Picked it up, and it was my mom, and she's just like, "Have you seen Pixels?" I was like, "What? Like the Adam Sandler movie?" And then she just went on about how much she loved it, and how funny it was, and how it had all these references and stuff. And it's like, I'm sitting there like, I didn't care about Pixels, but now I kind of want to watch Pixels, because you just need somebody to kind of gush about it, and maybe see it in a different way. And that could totally sway your judgment on something like Pixels. I still haven't watched it. Don't know when or if I will. But in my head, I'm okay if I end up ever watching Pixels.
You're
Kind
like,
of like the Barbie movie.
I'm open to the idea of entertaining the thought of maybe someday I might actually spend some time to fast forward through Pixels.
Sure. And that's how I felt with Barbie. It's like, I will watch, except this one, it's more so now that you've got Will Ferrell in there and Ryan Gosling, and then you mentioning the Lego Movie, which again reminds me of Will Ferrell. I feel like, yeah, it's I got to check it out, right? Like, these pictures are crazy. Releasing the pictures, even though it was, just while they were filming, they took pictures of it. But getting those out there, I think, are helping it like crazy.
Yes.
So it's amazing how, when you let some of that stuff leak from the set, and it actually does you some good. Because I think this is doing them some justice, because
Mhm.
people just want to know what the hell is going on.
No, very true. I mean, when people just have no clue what's going on, and then you start just giving them little tidbits, little drops in the bucket, little like, hey, 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 here's a sampling of what this is going to maybe be like. It
Right.
just starts, piquing interest a little bit. I'm still just dying to see what the first trailer is going to be, because that's where we're going to find out the real tone of the movie.
Yep.
That's when we're going to find out what exactly the storyline is.
Yo,
I
dude,
mean, it's
did
still
you
wide open. It could still be super meta to where it's actually like a doll that's brought to life.
did you see the footage that came out today from the set of the Barbie movie?
No, that came
Okay.
out today.
Yes. Okay. I don't know. I don't know if you want me to tell you or not, but if you want to go check out the footage, if you find the footage with the audio too, you hear Ryan Gosling screaming like Ken, and it's pretty funny. Margot Robbie gets a punch in on somebody, but yeah, I was just going through Twitter and there it was, like there's footage of certain scenes being filmed, and I'm
Oh my
excited for it
gosh.
because if you got Ken screaming the way that Ken screams, like that immediately tells me a little bit of the tone that we're going for. So something ridiculous, and his reaction to the situation.
Ken's
Oh, dude,
Now, is this
it's
like official footage, or is this
no,
like
no,
someone
it's
offset?
someone filmed it. Yes.
Uh,
Someone filmed it, but it's I like you said, I can't wait for the trailer because of stuff like this.
yeah, and it sucks too that it does happen that we do get a lot of these little tidbits unofficially,
Sure. But
and
yeah, that's what happens when you're filming on location, dude. I have like this whole long file that has a whole bunch of footage from Stay Tuned with John Ritter when
oh,
they filmed here in Old Tucson. My buddy was there and he had a camera and he just filmed John Ritter walking around, the western portions of Old Tucson studios. And it's like, I do appreciate these people doing what they do because it really does kind of show you the magic of filmmaking when they're out doing this stuff on the street. Granted, yes, some stuff can get spoiled, and you got those paparazzis that got the telephoto lenses that are trying to ruin Star Wars, but when it comes to something like this, I was watching Hocus Pocus 2 footage from the filming locations that they did, and I know what song they're going to sing, and I know what happens to the people. But I'm so excited even more now because of
oh,
watching that footage and the fun that these people are having with Bette Midler and all of them there. So I don't know. I get a kick out of watching this stuff and the Doctor Who stuff. All the photos that are coming out, dude, that's getting people hyped right now for the return of David Tennant as Doctor Who. So yeah, I could see the downside, the filming locations and people taking footage from it, but at the same time, there's some good that does come out of it.
no, that is true. It does take a very savvy studio to be able to kind of be like, okay, these are going to happen. How can we manage them? How can we kind of navigate this this whirlpool that is publicity, that is official, and things that happened without us knowing about it. So, but I honestly, I do have to admit, this does get me super excited for the movie. It does get me more and more curious about what the heck's going on. I'm debating on whether or not to see that clip that you showed me, but now that you've kind of described it, I'm kind of like, that sounds like fun. But
It is just because Ryan Gosling, dude. I some of these actors, dude. They're so good in the comedic roles, and somebody as intense and well crafted as Ryan Gosling, he kills it when it comes to comedy. Some of his Saturday Night Live moments are some of my favorite of guests on SNL. Just partly because how he breaks, man. But yeah, it's Ryan Gosling is definitely going to add something to it because we already know, man. We know Margot Robbie's gonna kill it. We know she's Barbie, she's Harley, she's Barbie, she's all these iconic characters. But Ryan Gosling as Ken, I never would have picked. But he looks crazy with the hair and the outfits too, and now the mannerisms. If you see the clip.
Mm-hmm. Well, back in the chat, we do have a couple comments that I want to get to before we move on to our next topic. Where to go? I had it just a few moments ago. It was someone that was talking about that it really did kind of scream, the Barbie movie kind of screamed like Zoolander vibes.
Sure.
And I'm like, you know what? That's
Will
probably
Ferrell.
going to be a really good. Here it is. I'm calling it. They are making Zoolander Barbie from Ruru 2. Honestly, I could see that. I could see that kind of humor. I can see that kind of vibe going. Marvin Martin did mention that it could be like
Weird
that
Science
movie Weird Science, where they brought a mannequin to life.
Give me the keys, Lisa.
Mm-hmm. And also, I'm hesitant on putting this up, Marvin, because your last recommendation for scientifically accurate Spider-Man did kind of ruin me. But scientifically accurate My Little Ponies. I
That would
am
be
I am
frightening.
scared and at the same time and intrigued at the same time to
Do they
go
get to
and
have the
watch.
colors? Because if they don't have the colors, then that's just a bunch of little flying mini horses, and that
They're
would look kind of
ponies.
weird.
So, but our last topic, were there any comments in there that popped your
Yeah, MK Songbird said, saw an image of Ryan Gosling wearing a Chudi Gatwa Doctor Who shirt, which just mentioned Doctor Who. That's so awesome that Ryan Gosling was wearing Chudi's shirt, because we know Chudi is going to be the next original Doctor Who. However, they're kind of taking, it feels like, a side excursion to past doctors to get the Chudi. So that's awesome that Ryan Gosling was rocking that shirt. So I'm excited. I'm excited for Barbie. I'm excited for Doctor Who.
There's a lot of cool stuff coming out.
And Marvin Martin, yes, they got to have the Barbie song in there
Somewhere in there. I mean, especially since they're going for that kind of vibe and that kind of campiness, I could
Sure.
see that they could fit it in there pretty easily.
Marvin Martin, watch Zoolander. It's ridiculous. If you like Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson, you got to watch Zoolander.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you watch, I mean, Will Ferrell also kind of hits that note for me to where you kind of have to really like his style of comedy. I have to admit, though, I'm not a big Will Ferrell fan. I think he's probably a good fit for this movie. But when I saw him in Stranger Than Fiction, made me completely change my mind about Will Ferrell and his acting chops and his comedy, and it made me look again and be like, okay, I can now see the appeal in his humor, and because that uncomfortable, awkward comedy always kind of just rubs me the wrong way. But I'm excited to see Will Ferrell in this Barbie movie.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge Will Ferrell fan either until I watched Anchorman. And then that's because I'm sorry, that's not true. That's not true. Elf. It was Elf. And once I saw Elf, like, I fell in love with him, and then immediately put in Anchorman. And then that's where it was like, he didn't feel like Will Ferrell. So I feel like Will Ferrell, when he's not like Will Ferrell, is really where I appreciate him more. But then there was this movie that came out called Everything Must Go. And so, like, when you're talking about Stranger Than Fiction, where you kind of saw Will Ferrell as an actor in a different light, for me, it was Everything Must Go. And that one was the one that was like, okay, Will Ferrell's all right in my book now, whether it's the comedy or the more serious roles. But yeah, seeing him as the villain here, again, no clue, but it makes sense with the tone that it feels like this movie might be trying to harness.
Yeah. Well, going from, we only have a few minutes left on our live stream, but I do want to get one last thought, because since we do have videos on this topic already on our channels, I don't want to cannibalize too much, but the topic of Hocus Pocus 2 did come up, and the new teaser trailer for Hocus Pocus 2 was officially dropped yesterday. Both Late to the Party and the Movie Couple, we do have our trailer reactions up on our channel, so go check those out if you haven't gotten to. But Robert, real quick, your thoughts on the new trailer that dropped.
When we were filming our reaction, like when we were done, it was like almost 10 minutes long. I was like, damn, dude, I didn't realize it talked that long. Like, sometimes it's tough to even talk past like 5 minutes for a teaser trailer. But man, like, we just kept going on Hocus Pocus. So obviously we're excited for it. But yeah, man, I'm hesitant still. I'm hesitant. It's a legacy sequel. It's going to Disney Plus. It's not going to theaters. None of the original crew is coming back, with the exception of the main three. So it makes you feel like, well, are you guys going to be able to kind of recapture it in terms of tone or style or graphics itself too? Because times have changed so much, and they used quite a bit of practical back then. So you're kind of worried, but at the same time, man, I think what helped me was going and watching those behind the scenes filming things, where I was just like, all right, like, this kind of feels like the original in terms of some of the things that they do and some of the dialogue that's there. But it comes down to, the heart. If they figured
Yeah.
out a story and they put in the heart, something you can't really pick up from a teaser trailer. But the heart that they did use in the teaser trailer, in my opinion, was the music at the end that was from the original Hocus Pocus. You guys incorporate that in the movie, you will win me over.
Yeah, they do kind of have an uphill battle because it is such a cult classic. It is such, there are so diehard fans. I mean, to where I know people where every single Halloween they dress up as one of the
Oh,
Sanderson
I was
sisters.
gonna say we
They,
watch it. We don't
oh,
dress up.
not just watch it,
Sure.
but I know people who
They
have
live it.
the full costume. They do
Nice.
events. They go to these. There are like Halloween events that focus a lot on the Hocus Pocus Sanderson sisters, and I know just how how hardcore some of these fans are. So I'm hoping that yes, they can recapture the magic. We didn't really get much from it, besides the fact that yeah, we know that it's a whole new generation, that it's a
Sure.
whole new group, that the only original people are the Sanderson sisters coming back. But I'm
And Billy, I forgot about Billy Butcherson. That's right. Doug Jones is coming back as Billy. So that was announced.
mhm. So I mean, so far it looks good. It looks like it's going to be fun. Knock on wood. That kind of carries forward, and that we're able to that will just come out of this, and we will now watch Hocus Pocus early in Halloween season, and then
Sure.
Hocus Pocus 2 later in the Halloween season.
It's true. And it gives you a little bit more of those Halloween moments too, because if it is good and it is something that, does feel Halloweeny when the time comes, you will put it in your arsenal of movies you will watch. So I'm hoping for that because it'll be a twofer. You'll watch Hocus Pocus 1 and 2 every Halloween. In fact, we are going to be watching it on our channel. We're going to do a reaction to the movie for Hocus Pocus 2 when it comes out. So yeah, like I'm going to put it to film and we're going to be able to lock in how I truly feel about this sequel when it happens, for better or for worse. But that's the problem with them putting it on Disney Plus. Now I get to judge it in real time.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because when you said that you were going to do a reaction to it, I'm like, but wait, it's going to be out. Oh no, that's right, Disney Plus.
Yep. And
It
we're
it just
also going to
feels
do
like it
one.
really should be out in the theaters.
I agree. And that's where you stop me. If you're like, you put it in theaters, it's like, all right, I'll shoot a review. It's like you won't see me real time. You'll get my, review of it. But, I'm excited because if I could go back, and I still remember my first time watching Hocus Pocus, what theater it was in, where I was sitting, the feelings I felt. But if I could have recorded my reaction back then, man, I had a hell of a time watching that movie. So yeah, it would have been a cool thing to look back on. And now I'll be able to do it with the sequel. And just hope it's good.
Keep our fingers crossed.
I know, right?
So, but anyways, that is all the topics that we have for today. First and foremost, Robert, thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, man, for coming out and helping me on my maiden journey of being able to fly my own ship, so to speak. I now have I had respect for Wendy before, and I had respect for what you guys do, but
Sure.
now it's a more personal respect of knowing, of having to do a full-on edit of a 45-minute TV show, and to be able to run a live stream all by being able to be at the helm of a
Right.
live stream.
Put
So
you in the
thank
hot
you
seat.
so much for coming on, and I
Thanks.
really do appreciate it. And I love having you on. So can you tell all of the people, even though probably most of our fans already know who you are, where you are, and where they can find you, but why
Late
don't you remind them?
late to the party on YouTube or any of the socials. We've got Stranger Things, the finale, the 2-episode finale coming up. You want to talk about long episodes? The second episode is a movie. The finale is a movie. It's like 2.5 hours long, and so just editing that down is going to be a feat for sure. But late to the party on YouTube. Check out our reactions. A lot going on right now.
Awesome. Well, and I am Dustin Zaney. You can find me on most of the social medias at either Darth Zaney, that's Darth Zany, or you can also find me here on the Movie Couple. You can find us at the Wendy and I on the Movie Couple on Instagram, Facebook. We are all over the socials. So go find us, and we will be posting more stuff. I recently went to go see The Rise of Gru
How was
just
that?
yesterday.
Can't tell me.
I can't tell you. So, I mean, so I'm going to be posting my review on that later on. And I'm, oh, shoot, I actually have to look up when embargo is on that, but I'll let everyone know when that is coming. But thank you all so much for joining us today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and we will see you in the next video. See you guys.
Bye.